This one, however, was chilling. The surfaces of his hands clearly exhibited multiple fresh cuts and wounds. When shown images from this ATM visit, Reed recognized the t-shirt. In fact, he stated that he owned one that was very similar to it. Upon inspection, it didn't appear to Reed that his bedroom closet or dresser drawers had been rifled through. However, this would come up later in the investigation. Detectives were able to track down Jennifer's contact, Janet Grimm, who'd been scheduled to deliver the framed art the previous day. Jennifer had texted Janet at 10:18, stating that she'd be back at the residence in less than 10 minutes. Not long after this time, Janet stated she'd missed multiple calls from Jennifer's number. At 11:33, Janet picked up a call, and on the other end was Jennifer, who Janet could only describe as totally panicked. Jennifer stated she'd have to cancel the appointment as the school had just called and she had to pick Oliver up right away. Naturally, Janet found the conversation odd. She attempted to reach Jennifer on her cell phone approximately an hour later, but there was no answer. Evidence was beginning to mount. Also, on September 28th, Jennifer's SUV was located less than 5 miles from Reed's home in the parking lot of a public supermarket. The vehicle was processed for evidence the following day, on September 29th, 2 days after Jennifer vanished, and each finding was more grim than that which came before. A beer bottle was found in the front center console. According to Robert, Jennifer would never drink on the job. There was no doubt in his mind that the bottle did not belong to her. A tan canvas bag had been placed on the front passenger floorboard. Inside the bag were a white t-shirt, a white towel, and a men's watch with a distinctive plaid watch band. Worst of all was the revelation that each item appeared to be stained with blood. The items clearly matched those the man was seen wearing on ATM footage from the first transaction 2 days prior, before the wounds to his hands had appeared. Word of a third unauthorized ATM transaction came on September 29th, but the location wasn't even remotely near Winter Park. It was in Jacksonville, Florida, where a $100 withdrawal occurred, approximately 140 miles north of Reed's home. A sworn statement via phone was recorded between Robert Fulford and a Winter Park detective that same evening.
Did anyone have permission or authorization from you to withdraw that cash?
Uber, happy Sunday. Welcome in.
And in regards to that transaction, would you like to press charges, if applicable, to anyone for criminal charges?
Yes, I would.
The most recent ATM activity cited in the statement was a major turning point in the investigation. It led detectives to contact the Winter Park Amtrak station, where they were able to get their hands on some critical information. On the afternoon of September 27th, a train ticket was purchased at 4:52 p.m., the destination being none other than the city of Jacksonville. And as luck would have it, there was only one passenger aboard that train. With this information, law enforcement had what they believed to be the name of a previously unidentified individual. His images had been plastered all over the media in an attempt to put a name to the menacing face. He was a 53-year-old man by the name of Scott Nelson, and a background check indicated that he was extremely dangerous and had an extensive rap sheet. Furthermore, Scott was currently on federal probation for armed robbery. Hope that Jennifer would be found safe was beginning to dwindle.
Good morning,
the following
Anjar.
day brought with it the much-dreaded, terribly devastating news. Just 3 days after Jennifer was last seen, the worst-case scenario had become a nightmarish reality. Jennifer's cell phone had been pinging off a cell tower located near a heavily wooded area of Orlando.
Honestly,
Somewhere around noon, with assistance from the Orange County Sheriff's Office
glad
Aviation
you were able to
Unit,
catch it this
Jennifer's
time.
body was located.
Things have changed.
The gruesome
little
discovery
bit.
conveyed that the last moments of Jennifer's life had been absolutely hellish. But the true magnitude of the horror wouldn't be exposed until later.
Hassan, good morning.
The
good
merciless
morning.
nature
I
of the
didn't see
killing
you said
further
hi.
motivated local law enforcement and U.S.
Good
Marshals,
morning.
who'd been enlisted to assist with the investigation, to locate Scott Nelson. And it wouldn't take long. The day after Jennifer's battered and discarded body was found, the suspected murderer also turned up. It was shortly after 4 p.m. on October 1st that Scott was located at the Sunshine Inn Motel in Jacksonville, just a half-mile trek from where the local Amtrak station had dropped him off. Initially, it was anyone's guess as to how the apprehension was going to play out. Law enforcement was aware that Scott didn't have a lot to lose. That, paired with his violent nature, could be a recipe for absolute disaster. The showdown began with Scott's refusal when ordered to exit his room, but it proved to be short-lived, and Scott was taken into custody without incident. However, the investigation had essentially just begun. A couple hours after his apprehension, the suspect had landed himself in an interrogation room. The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed attorney, a licensed clinical psychologist, and a licensed professional counselor.
Very kind of you. Thank you.
There's going to be a little bit of park detectives want to read.
Sure.
So if you need to use the restroom or anything like that, don't hesitate to knock on the door. I'll be right on the other side, okay?
Okay, thank you.
It's going to be longer than a little bit, as the detective described. The Winter Park detectives have the 140-mile trek to make up to Jacksonville. And as you can see, the extended wait time is starting to wear on Scott, approximately 2.5 hours in.
Oh, I gotta piss. Hey.
Scott is granted his restroom break, but upon his return, he'll still have an hour to wait. Finally, detectives have arrived at their destination, and they start by providing Scott with a warm welcome.
All right, thanks.
You got water? You okay? I could use something to eat. I haven't eaten. Hungry? I'm starving. I'm dizzy. I'm so hungry.
Okay. We'll get you some.
Okay.
There's let's see if I can grab you some.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry for being hungry. Thanks. Nah, man, that's not a problem. You doing okay? Yeah.
Hungry, huh?
Yeah, starving.
What do you like to eat?
Oh,
Thank you, Pooh.
anything.
Getting
Anything?
slowly better
I'm not
over
too fussy.
time.
You got something?
Oh, that's fine.
Energy in here. And
That's good.
So
Good. I'm
Is
good.
it pizza flavor?
No, sorry.
Oh,
No, I'm good. What you guys?
all right, Scott. So we'd like to talk to you about, and I'm sure you probably have a million questions too. So
The detective states that they have to go over his Miranda rights since he's in custody. He also swears in Nelson. This is not a court or official judicial proceeding, but perhaps an interrogation tactic to emphasize the desire for truthful answers. After Scott is confirmed that he understands the process, the detectives proceed to question him on his background, which is the basic baseline and rapport building of the interview process.
married?
No.
Okay. Hey, ever close?
Nope.
No, no divorce or anything. Huh?
No.
Hey, you're a lucky one. Children?
No children.
Siblings? Brothers? Sisters?
Yeah, I have a couple brothers.
Couple
Older.
brothers? Okay, older. So you're the youngest, huh?
Yes.
After a little small talk, Scott is starting to grow impatient.
Can I ask you
Yeah,
something?
ask away. Go ahead.
I'm under arrest.
Yes. and
What
we
are-
can get
what are
into
my
that.
charges?
Okay. Right now we got some issues with some credit card use. Okay. So I'd like to go into that. All right. And say.
What credit card? Because I don't own a
Um.
credit
So you don't own a credit card?
No.
Do you have a debit card? ATM card?
card. Trying to think. I think I do.
Okay. What do you think you do?
You don't know if he got a debit card or an
The
ATM
question
card.
causes Scott to freeze in place, and he hesitates to answer, ultimately going for the evasive "I think" response. This is a red flag for deception. It's a simple yes or no question. Of course, Scott doesn't want to provide any sort of answer here. The mere mention of a debit card likely set off alarm bells in his mind since he'd used Jennifer's debit card.
I don't have enough information. I mean, I
As I said, well, let's walk through it. Okay?
Sure, okay.
All right. Do you have any idea why you think you may be here at all?
No.
No. Okay. Well, let's go back a little bit. You were in Orlando last week?
Mhm.
Okay. How long had you been in Orlando for?
About 4 months.
4 months? Where were you before you got to Orlando?
Prison.
Okay, so you got out of prison, you came right to Orlando?
Yes.
Were you in prison in Florida or were you in prison somewhere else?
Somewhere else. Federal.
What made you come to Orlando?
It's just where they assigned me to.
Oh, for probation?
Yeah,
Okay. So you're doing some federal probation time?
that's correct.
Okay. Where were you staying in Orlando?
With the mission,
Which one?
West Central.
The rescue mission over there? Right by the old police station.
Yes.
How'd you like the rescue mission? Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean, no one really wants to be there.
No. Now, were you working while you were in Orlando?
Yeah, I was working for a painting business. It's in Winter Park.
What they have you doing?
Painting apartments,
Apartments? Like new apartments or old apartments, like refurbished or what?
like the villages and
Okay.
some, pretty nice places.
Are you still employed with them?
No.
When did that stop?
A couple of weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago. What happened?
I'm just curious to know where this is all headed.
Well, that's what we're getting to.
Will I have an attorney coming in here?
That's totally up to you. You tell me. I mean,
Oh yeah, no problem.
what would you like?
I think since I've been arrested, I think I'd like an attorney present to speak.
Scott is polite and formal in addressing the detectives, and he presents as confident when he expresses that he wants an attorney. Even if we didn't know of Scott's criminal history, it's evident that this isn't his first rodeo. He seems to know his rights and doesn't appear intimidated by the interview process. But just like that, after all that waiting, the conversation has come to a halt before it's really even gotten off the ground. While Scott wasn't in the mood to talk on that particular night, it would only be a matter of time before he'd have a change of heart, for lack of a better way to describe it. Because as you're about to hear, someone who could inflict such an agonizing death upon another is as heartless as they come, truly evil right down to the core. It was a month to the day of their initial meeting when Scott mailed a letter to one of the detectives, expressing his desire to speak with them about the investigation. A meeting was arranged and took place on November 13th, 2017 at the Federal Detention Center in Miami.
It's approximately 10:41 a.m. at FDC in Miami for an interview with Nelson.
This time around, Scott is so forthcoming the details are likely to turn the stomachs of even the most seasoned detectives. However, the most shocking element of all is his alleged motive. It's utterly unfathomable.
I know what you said in the letter, and so I want to go over the letter with you. Like I told you last time, I know there's stuff you want to tell us, and we'll go from there. Okay.
The detective covers Scott's Miranda rights, then the conversation begins.
What prompted you to write the letter?
Well, yeah, because of the conditions that they have me under. I'm treated very hard where the other inmates aren't. It's got to change. I mean, something has to change. There's a quid pro quo. I mean, you guys may have the answers that you need, and I have that information.
Essentially, Scott is admitting that he's willing to speak in order to gain better treatment for himself, not to help the victim's family or do the right thing. His motivation is self-centered and narcissistic. The detective is willing to listen to everything Scott wants to get off his chest.
So this is your show. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, for instance, I was on the streets for months and had nothing. I really had nowhere to go. I had nothing going for me. Really don't. I'm trying to, I'm trying to help you as well as help myself here. Well, life has really never been that easy for me. Do you know that I have a colostomy?
I did.
You do. Okay, so like the Bureau of Prisons, they wouldn't give me the reconnection. They wouldn't help me. I mean, things are just in the toilet, and they're getting worse and worse and worse and worse for me. And it's not going to stop until I'm either dead or something. They're not going to stop. That's what
we don't want to see that happen. I mean, I'll tell you right now.
No, I
don't want to see that happen.
I know, Detective.
Scott continues to focus on himself as the victim in the situation and takes no accountability for what he's done.
As far as what created this whole thing to be, I was thrown to the street again, and I had nowhere to live. I'm completely broke.
Yeah.
And, I had been in Winter Park a few times. Okay, so it wasn't the first time I had been to Winter Park. What happened there was I noticed that it's a very affluent type of place.
Yeah.
It is. Well, people have a lot of money and things like this, and they have a different lifestyle. Where 15 minutes away in Orlando, where I was living, people are dead ass broke.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly happy with this.
Quite the understatement we'll soon hear. It cut much deeper than that. It seems like Scott grew increasingly bitter and resentful as he took in the fact that he was struggling to survive, while there were large communities of people not far from the shelter where he lived that enjoyed an excess of comforts and luxuries. It's important to keep in mind that people with antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, have a firm belief that they deserve everything: status, money, luxury, and comforts, whether they've actually done anything to earn these things or not. Their sense of entitlement makes them believe that they deserve and should be able to possess all these things. This is why they justify committing violent crimes, because they're willing to do anything to try to obtain what they feel is rightfully theirs. It also seems that Scott is highlighting social injustices, but ultimately, his beliefs seem to boil down to the fact that he thinks he's entitled to the same comforts that the residents of Winter Park enjoy. In addition, people with ASPD are extremely spiteful and vindictive. If they feel slighted by others, whether the offense is real or imagined, they will stop at nothing to get even. They won't feel satisfied until they have sought revenge. Oftentimes, their idea of getting even is retaliating in a manner that is far worse than whatever the original offense was. They don't believe in an eye for an eye. They believe in delivering a much harsher punishment than what was done to them. Scott states that he was released from prison that previous May and had been on the streets for about 4 months as the rage inside him continued to build.
I'm willing to help you people because I'm going to be found guilty even if I didn't say anything. You have enough forensic evidence to get capital murder on me right now anyway.
It's very possible that due to Scott facing such extreme adversities during his probation, including issues with health care and difficulty obtaining food, it's likely true that he didn't care if he was incarcerated for the rest of his life. It's an extremely dangerous scenario to have an ex-con feeling he has absolutely nothing to lose. His worst-case scenario was going to prison for life, but maybe this wasn't such a bad outcome when he looked at the harsh reality of his daily life while being out of prison. Scott described the terrible conditions he was subjected to in prison, but it seems that the realities of freedom weren't that much better. People can become so used to life on the inside that, when facing life on the outside, they lack the skills to function appropriately in society.
So I'm walking around Winter Park, and all these people, they have money, they have beautiful homes, beautiful families, cars, diamond rings, just driving their Mercedes and stuff. And I wanted to make it an example.
Scott explains that during the month of September, he stayed at an undisclosed location. He gives his account of one night in particular, as he sat in a picturesque gazebo of Winter Park, and it's very disturbing.
That's when, about 11 o'clock at night, that's when, in my mind, I officially died. Okay, I died, I was there. I died that night. Okay, I'm sorry you got to that point, really. And I'm in Winter Park, I'm surrounded by all this wealth. And here I am, right? I'm clean cut, I'm intelligent, I'm highly employable, I work like a dog, and I can't have nothing, I'm just dead.
What's going on?
It was that very night that Scott made up his mind. He devised a horrific plan, and he was going to carry it out.
And TikTok.
I'm going to do a home invasion. So I knew that I was going to do that. I noticed this one house, and it was happening to be 5 o'clock, I'd say 5 o'clock in the afternoon on the 26th. And I see Jennifer getting out of a vehicle with a young boy. And they go into the house. And I could tell just by the way she was dressed that she was not the first thing I had in my head was she must be a house cleaner or something of that nature. But I wanted to make an example of Winter Park.
Right.
Okay. Right, wrong, or indifferent, be it evil, be whatever. That's what I was going to do.
It's ironic how Scott makes himself out to be the victim of the cycle of poverty and recidivism, but then he targets Jennifer, whom he admitted looked like a house cleaner to him. He claims to have a grudge against the affluent people of Winter Park, yet he targeted someone who he said himself was part of the working class, and not the affluent class. This highlights that his actions really had nothing to do with the injustices of the world, and everything to do with releasing his rage however he saw
ready for
fit.
work? That's why you up early?
One of the detectives poses the question we've all been asking ourselves.
Why'd you choose her to make an example?
Everything came about that mysterious month of September, where Scott has chosen not to disclose the location at which he was living.
Sweet dreams.
The month of September, I was living in a place, and there was a gentleman. Long story short, they had known Jennifer, and they had had an argument. That's how I knew about that house that she worked at.
Robin Hood.
He tell you to do what he did. Well, yeah. He said killing her he wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
But he leaves it at that and transitions straight to September 27th.
Get some rest.
And if
You
Scott has
earned
been
it.
successful in garnering any sympathy from the
Hope you have the
detectives,
sweetest
it's
dreams,
likely
too.
that every ounce of it will now dissipate after he recounts the terrifying events of Jennifer's last moments.
UPS.
Right.
Yeah, they had delivered a package.
I wish you were
The
crying.
guy delivered a
Proud of
package,
you.
and the minute he drove away, I went out and I rang the doorbell, and Jennifer answered it, and I said to her, I said, you know, they have a package on the doorstep here. And she said, yeah, I know. And she was looking at me a little odd, like, yeah, who are you? Why are you telling me this? And that's when I pushed the
See you
door
soon, baby.
and pushed it in. I went and shut the door, and she screamed.
Okay.
And she was, frightened.
Sure.
And I had a knife. So I told her to lay down on the floor, and then I bound her with some zip ties.
Okay.
I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just here for the money.
Okay.
And she was not very helpful with my needs.
This statement shows Scott's grandiosity and sense of entitlement, but this is also an example of victim blaming, something that individuals with antisocial personality disorder commonly engage in when they commit crimes and violate others.
I mean, here it is an honest citizen, and she's probably never told many lies in her whole life.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, she runs into a bad guy, and now she wants to lie on her.
Never works for me.
Or whatever happened, you give the guy what he wants and let him leave. No.
Did that just make the situation worse?
Yeah,
You know it works on YouTube, too.
it made it a lot worse because I'm just trying to get some food, some money, and whatever.
Scott then explained that he felt Jennifer was purposely misleading him. She gave him the ATM
Wanted me
card
to
and
shoot. Happy
PIN,
Sunday.
but didn't disclose
Welcome
that she
in.
also had a debit card tied to Reed's personal bank account. She did, however, state that Reed had some expensive
for the hard
watches
meat.
located in his bedroom.
So I went upstairs for a second. I got the brown comforter off the bed. I wrapped her in the brown comforter and put her in the back of her own vehicle.
Okay.
I loaded her up through the front door, and then I left. So she was in the back of the vehicle, and I left with her.
Okay.
I went to the ATM machine and I withdrew the $300.
Jennifer was absolutely terrified. She was trapped in a compact space, wrapped tightly in a comforter, and having difficulty breathing. As for Scott,
Then I went shopping. Kind of cold-blooded, isn't it?
You're showing the amount of compassion that you got shown is what it sounds like to me.
I'm not firing on all my cylinders, but the thing is, I have my faculties. I know the difference between right and wrong.
this is one of the confounding realities of individuals with antisocial personality disorder. They are aware of
He's
right
mad
and
at the
wrong,
wealthy.
but they don't care. Their own needs are always at the forefront of their thoughts, intentions, and actions.
I wanted to have the owner go to the bank and withdraw a large enough sum of money so that I could, abscond. And that didn't happen.
No.
So now I have Jennifer in the back of the vehicle, and
Thank you for
I
the
have
share.
$300. And now what do I do with her?
Right.
So now I'm driving, trying to find a place to find Jennifer, where I can put her. And she's telling me, throughout this whole experience, even in the house, she says, I'm really afraid you're going to kill me.
Right.
Please don't kill me.
Right.
In all reality, I'm having a hard time having compassion because I've been brutalized for so many years that I don't even know what compassion is anymore.
This could be a true statement. When people experience long-standing trauma, they can become numb and essentially void of any feeling or emotion. Alternately, those with antisocial tendencies tend to lack the capacity for emotion and connection to begin with, due to neurological differences. So it's possible that this has always been his version of normal.
It's the human condition.
Absolutely.
Her phone started ringing, stuff I just shut it off. So I finally found a place to put Jennifer.
Yet again, Scott confirms that the killing was completely premeditated. He details a purchase he made that consisted of items that would be used to murder an innocent person who happened to be in the wrong place at the worst possible time.
Purchased all that at Walmart.
Walmart?
Yeah.
How many days before?
I think perhaps a week before it in Princeton Street.
Okay.
I purchased it with a check.
Scott's estimation was close, just off by a few days. He made the purchase at an Orlando Walmart the afternoon of September 16th, 11 days prior to when he carried out Jennifer's murder. This confirms that whether Jennifer cooperated with Scott's needs or not, he was going to murder her. There was nothing she could have done, Detectives met with asset protection officers at the Walmart just 3 days after the confession and saw it all on surveillance footage. Scott had purchased nearly $500 worth of items, including food, several cartons of cigarettes, and blue tennis shoes. And then there were the most incriminating items: a utility knife with a green handle, a package of 18-inch cable ties, and a roll of duct tape. Please be forewarned that the following description may be too graphic for some viewers. Scott eventually located a secluded, wooded area, and sadly, it seems Jennifer is well aware that there's no chance she'll make it out of the brutal attack alive.
So I got her out of the vehicle, and she started getting louder and louder, so I put some duct tape.
Could she breathe with the tape
Barely,
put on her face?
very little. She's pleading for her life.
Did you ever hit her in the head, or did she ever hit her head on the ground or anything like
The
that?
back of her head?
Yeah.
Yes, I punched her
When?
prior to duct taping her up. I stabbed her 3 times that I didn't remember.
Remember where?
Yeah, once in the back, another time in the back, and then the third time I was walking away, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to let this testify against me, because they're going to give me the same amount of time. So I killed her. I put one through her heart. She put me away for the rest of my fucking life anyway. So I mean, so I killed her, and she let out a gasp, and that was it. And she died.
Calling her a name is Scott's way of depersonalizing her. It's a distancing technique so that he doesn't have to see her as a person, even though she hasn't done anything to him but try to comply and survive.
Well, then what did you do after that?
I drove back to the Publix.
Scott cleaned the blood off of himself and changed clothing in the men's restroom. It was then that he replaced his t-shirt with the Winter Park one, shown in the photos from his second visit to the ATM, which occurred that day. However, he wasn't able to mask the wounds he'd sustained on his hands as a result of the heavy brush he'd trudged through in the wooded area.
And I dropped the vehicle off. And I went back to the park to get my belongings. And then I sat there and I thought about what I've done, everything, and I was hungry.
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that this
So
shows
he
his
was
complete
feeling
lack
like
of moral
airmate.
conscience and empathy, Scott being hungry after the murder indicates yet again that his only objective in life is to fulfill his own needs. People with severe antisocial personality disorder are not emotionally pained or otherwise affected by inflicting harm on others. Their threshold for feeling emotional pain for another person is very high, and in some cases, such as Scott's, non-existent. Scott ventured to a nearby 7-Eleven and, of all things, he purchased a pizza.
Well, I called it the blood pizza
Okay.
because the reason why I called it that
The
is
blood
because
pizza?
I ordered the pizza and I bought a beer with the highest level of grace that I could muster. I was actually proud of what I did because of that. After all the years that I've been kicked in the face by the Federal Bureau of Prisons and all the years that not attaching my colostomy and all the years of getting beat up and tormented and everything, I finally had a certain level of self-respect. I finally made someone pay for all the that I've been through. And so I took my blood pizza because somebody died for me to get this pizza.
Wow.
So I walk down and I'm holding the beer
Wow.
and I'm walking and I'm dressed immaculately because I've washed myself and everything in Publix. And I'm walking down the street while all these rich people are walking around buying jewelry and they're having their good life and all this stuff and wouldn't give a rat's about me. And so I'm carrying my pizza. Little do these bastards know what I had to do for this friggin' pizza.
Yeah.
And I walked back up to that gazebo and I ate that pizza, every bite of it, and I enjoyed every damn bite of it. And I really did.
This dude's a
And
maniac.
I hope. My only regret is that I hadn't killed 30 more sons of bitches like her.
It's almost like Scott felt he was one of them for a short time, like he was living a piece of the good life for once. He felt vindicated because, unlike the rest of the Winter Park
Publix
community,
again, huh?
he believed he really earned that beer and pizza.
Yikes.
It also seems like Scott was taking pleasure in knowing a secret that the community hadn't yet discovered, one that would frighten them and make them feel like their city wasn't as safe as they thought it was. He enjoys feeling like he took something from the citizens of Winter Park, He stole their peace of mind and burst the bubble they lived in, and he seems to like this because he likely feels as if others are sharing in his misery. An utterly
He made
chilling
sure he got
account,
seen by their
but clearly
cameras, though.
it was all in vain.
Dumbass.
You know, this is the evil part of it all. With concern to the, after everything that's been gone on, here I am, I'm
There's
back in
always a
Winter
cop
Park, and nothing's changed.
No.
Okay, I have a couple $100 in my pocket. A girl is dead, and I'm still have complete contempt for Winter Park.
Didn't it make you feel any better?
No, it didn't make me feel any better, but I just don't understand how things are the way they are.
A truly senseless death, and his motive behind it all was even more shocking. After Scott's gut-wrenching version of the nightmarish day concluded, one of the detectives asked why it was that Scott reached out with his letter and came forward. And as Scott explained it, he wanted his story to be heard. Clearly, he felt he was the victim. He also quite obligingly filled in the missing pieces. He hadn't intended for the murder to go unsolved, after all.
I left everything for the law enforcement to find.
Okay.
The knife, I threw that where? About 70 feet from the murder of the body. Yeah, that's her vehicle.
And is that the vehicle that you took that day?
Yep, that's it.
Is that the vehicle that she was in the back of?
Yes.
That day when you were at the house, did you eat any food there or drink any beverages or anything?
I took one beer.
The empty bottle found in Jennifer's car was the one he stole from Reed's home.
And is that the comforter that you took from the,
Yeah, that'd be it.
this picture, this house, does this look familiar?
Yeah, that's it.
Who's that?
Might as well walk yourself in there and handcuff yourself.
But in stark contrast to how Scott is able to speak of his victim so casually, without so much as a hint of emotion, he can't hide the fury he feels, apparent in his voice as he speaks of the true motive behind the murder. And it's like nothing we've ever heard before.
I was doing really well.
Okay.
In society, in the street,
Right.
I had a job. And over there, my probation officer came in, and he premeditatedly and deliberately went in to sabotage it and blow it up. So,
Really?
oh, yes, sir. The probation officer did everything he could in his power as a man. He woke up that morning just as premeditated as I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew what I was going to do. All right. I needed money.
Okay.
And I did what I
They
had
probably
to do
always
to survive.
working, always on,
All right,
too.
he did what he had to put me in that position.
People with antisocial
How would he
personality
deserve?
disorder do not take any responsibility for their actions. It's always someone else who caused them to make poor decisions. Maybe Scott felt he would punish the law by breaking the law. He seems to believe that his probation officer had sabotaged his job and source of income, and that these things warranted him committing a crime. In his mind,
just
it's all
completely
a
sure he's
conspiracy.
correct.
Law
Crazy.
enforcement decides who will be placed on a path doomed for failure.
They really had a notion in their head that they wanted to destroy this guy sitting back in prison. I mean, that's what they do. I mean, they have certain individuals. Oh, of course they do. And things started adding up. You know, I had all I could take, and it just something happened to me that I just couldn't take it anymore. I'm hungry. I'm a felon. I'm homeless. I did everything I could to abide by the law.
Yeah.
They're going to put me in prison anyway. The bottom line is this, is that my probation department, the feds, they put me in this situation as well as those people, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I still walk around the closet because of that, okay? And you have no idea how sick and evil that is to do to a man.
However, Scott's assertion that various government agencies were what drove him to murder wouldn't get him very far. He'd said it himself. There was enough forensic evidence to tie him to the murder. The beer bottle contained Scott's DNA. In addition, the white t-shirt, white towel, and watch with the distinctive band that were located in the canvas bag within Jennifer's SUV had been analyzed by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Forensic Lab. Each item showed visible staining that appeared to be blood, and the stains were confirmed to match both Jennifer's and Scott's DNA profiles.
Is there anybody out there that is looking for someone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And those are the people that I really want to try to help.
Right, I understand.
Despite Scott's claim that he understands, He declines to divulge any additional information, and the interview ends. Whether there's any truth in his assertion remains to be seen, but the idea, as terrifying as it is, could be all too real. We know exactly what Scott is capable of. Before his trial, Scott wrote to the judge and, true to his character, he made even more shockingly selfish statements.
Already knew.
In the letter, Scott claimed that he had already admitted to unsolved armed bank robberies and that he promised to divulge information about 8 homicides he committed, ones he has never been caught for.
What an idiot.
Why would he suddenly give up that crucial information? Well, Scott claimed that since his arrest, he had lost 40 pounds of body weight because he doesn't get enough food in prison. He made his demands very clear, writing, "I'm starving to death, and I'm asking to be fed more food." That's right. He would admit to 8 murders in exchange for more food in jail. The trial wouldn't take place until late June of 2019, nearly 2 years after Jennifer's brutal murder. Scott elected to testify, likely against the advice of his attorneys. He told all of the heinous details of Jennifer's last moments. Not surprisingly, he continued to blame his parole officer entirely for Jennifer's death. The idea that justice could truly be served in a case such as this is unrealistic. If nothing else, however, Scott didn't receive the sentence to death he'd sought. He was found guilty on all counts, including first-degree murder, and was sentenced to life in prison without any chance of parole.
Oh, okay. We're going to call it for right now, y'all. Because it's lagging a little bit. Drop it for try to fix it. I'm going to give it a couple of hours because it ain't hot yet, so I don't know what. I'm going to try to figure it out. I'll see y'all soon.